This is your PFF Free Agent Roundup powered by PFF Elite. Steve, Ohio State alum Carlos Hyde heading home to Ohio, signing with the Cleveland Browns. What do you think of this move?
I think it's a solid move as long as he's used properly. I think, he's a solid runner. He had the 11th most missed tackles in the league last year, runs through contact pretty well. So as a runner, he's fine. The question comes in the pass game where he struggled to catch the ball, had the highest drop rate of any running back in the NFL last year at 13.2%. And he also gave up the most pressures in pass protection. 13 pressures led the NFL. So if you limit his role, let him run the ball, maybe not do as much in the pass game, you can maximize Hyde's value.
Luckily for the Browns, though, they have Duke Johnson already in-house, who's almost a wide receiver at this point to be everything they need in the passing game. So Carlos Hyde should be able to just be a two-down ball carrier and do pretty well for the team. Carlos Hyde to the Browns.
Sam, the San Francisco 49ers add a running back to the mix with Jerick McKinnon, formerly of the Minnesota Vikings. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a significant amount of money for McKinnon, but I do love the fit inside that Kyle Shanahan offense in San Francisco. They run inside or outside zone 78% of the time. They pass to running backs out of the backfield a lot. McKinnon was excellent last season for the Vikings in a limited role, both as a receiver and a running back. 39 broken tackles on all his touches, a top 10 rate in terms of broken tackles.
A career year for Jerick McKinnon, 84.6 grade. You could find that all a part of PFF Edge. Jerick McKinnon to the 49ers. Sam, the New Orleans Saints bring back an old friend. It's Patrick Robinson, former first-round pick, who last year turned a pedestrian career into the best season of his entire career, 89.8 grade with the Eagles. How did he do it?
The key was a position switch. They moved him from the outside into the slot. Back when he was with the Saints the first time, he spent as low as 4% of his snaps lined up in the slot, but that was up in the 70s for Philadelphia. He was a primary slot corner, and if you look at his numbers, they were fantastic. Third in passer rating allowed from the slot. Top 5 in coverage snaps per reception, top 10 in yards per coverage snap. These are all fantastic metrics for a slot corner, and if they keep him inside in New Orleans, you should see that guy again.
All right, let's keep Patrick Robinson in the slot. His second go-around in New Orleans will be much better. The journeyman now, maybe, one of the best corners in the NFL in the slot. Sam, it's all about the Dolphins' center position as they're making a big change. Mike Pouncey is out. Daniel Kilgore is in, coming over in a trade from the San Francisco 49ers. What is going on there?
Yeah, I don't know that this makes them significantly better. Both these guys struggled last season in terms of PFF grading. Both actually similar, and they were much worse against the run than they were in pass blocking. Kilgore, though, at least had good games in there. There was some flashes of light, flashes of better play than we saw from Pouncey, and one really terrible outing against the Arizona Cardinals that drags down his overall grade. I think there's the potential for this move to be an upgrade, especially with Josh Sitton already coming on board.
Pouncey's career got off to a very promising start, but the last 3 years, pretty steady decline. Go check it out. PFF Edge, 46.5 grade last year. The Dolphins shaking up their center position. Sam, the Miami Dolphins upgraded one of the worst positions they've had for multiple years now at guard by bringing in Josh Sitton, maybe the best pass-protecting guard in all of the National Football League.
No maybe about it. Definitely the best pass-blocking guard in all of the NFL. Josh Sitton has missed some time over the past couple of seasons, which is the big red flag for him, his durability at this point. But in 2017, he allowed 12 total pressures. The year before, he allowed just 6.
Yeah, and if you go back and check out PFF Elite, you can see that he ranked first in pass blocking efficiency in 2013, 14, and 15, and second in 2016, dropped to 13th last year, but still the best in the NFL. It's Josh Sitton to the Miami Dolphins. Sam, the New England Patriots needed help on the defensive line, and they're going out to Adrian Claiborne, formerly of the Atlanta Falcons, coming off of a career season. What can they expect from Claiborne?
A career season predicated essentially off one game in which he destroyed Chaz Green and the Dallas Cowboys offensive line to the tune of 6 sacks. 6 of his 10 on the season came in that one game. 12 total pressures in that one game alone. Incredible. But it was a career year outside of that as well. He had 54 total pressures last season. Even if you take off the 12 for that game, still incredibly productive despite just having that one pass rush move. Could be an interesting pickup for the Patriots, who like players that can set the edge and don't really care if they can't generate a huge amount of pressure.
Yeah, he admitted he only has that one move, but it did work against Chaz Green. Claiborne has improved his pass rushing as his career has gone on. He had some depth up front to the Patriots' defensive line. Sam, the Baltimore Ravens had one of the worst receiving corps in the NFL, actually the last couple of years, and they're going to upgrade, bringing in Michael Crabtree. What can they expect there?
Yeah, Michael Crabtree isn't going to set the world alight. He's not going to revamp things all by himself, but he should represent a significant upgrade to one of the league's worst wide receiving cores. Last season, the wide receiver rating, the pass rating of the quarterback throwing at Michael Crabtree, 95.4, which is a pretty decent mark, heading towards that 100 barrier. He had more yards per route run than Amari Cooper in that Oakland offense. He can be a solid, reliable, starting wide receiver. Now they just need to look to the draft that adds even more to that core.
Yeah, it's at least a starting point for the Ravens as they look to get a little bit better. Crabtree, a little bit more on that possession receiver part of the spectrum, but he knows how to get open, and he adds a dependable option for Joe Flacco in that Ravens offense.
Steve, Tyrann Mathieu, one of the stars of free agency after getting cut by the Cardinals, signs with the Houston Texans. Talk about this move.
Yeah, check out my in-depth breakdown at ProFootballFocus.com where I break down what Mathieu is capable of doing. He makes a lot of plays around the line of scrimmage. He's got linebacker-like qualities as a run defender. He can rush the passer, and he's at his best in short zones. That's his best spot in coverage. He can get beat in man coverage a little bit, and he's 2 years removed from his best season, 92.8 grade in 2015. He's battled some ACL injuries the last couple of years, so even if you're not getting that elite player in 2015, he's at least solid and capable of making plays all over the field.
Yeah, a 1-year prove-it deal for Mathieu to show his best stuff and hit the open market again should be a big addition to that Houston secondary.
Sam, the Arizona Cardinals needed a lot of help on their offensive line, and they're going to former New York Giants guard/tackle Justin Pugh.
Yeah, it's a good move to add a versatile offensive lineman, whoever you are, but when you're a team that needs offensive line help across the board, it's a great move. I honestly think that Justin Pugh may just be a good player, either at guard or at tackle. I don't know if he's actually any better suited at either position, but he represents a huge upgrade for this team. In his past 2 seasons of full-time starting, he allowed 45 total pressures. John Wetzel on this offensive line allowed 61 last season all by himself. So wherever the Cardinals plug Justin Pugh, it's going to be a big upgrade.
Pugh battled injuries last season, but of his 4 full seasons, 2 in the high 70s, 2 in the 80s, a solid pickup for the Arizona Cardinals. Sam, the Minnesota Vikings add a lot of depth and a big player to their defensive line. It's Sheldon Richardson signing in Minnesota.
Yeah, they add a player who can slot in that 3 technique position on that defensive line alongside Linval Joseph inside of the defensive ends and give them some legitimate pass rush. Replace Sharif Floyd, their former first-round pick, who's been injured and essentially looks like his career may be done. Richardson only had 1 sack last year, but he had 36 total pressures, which is the highest number of pressures of any player with 1 or fewer sacks. He can bring some pressure inside.
And don't worry, Vikings fans, pressures predict sacks better than sacks predict sacks. Richardson has 5 years over 80 in the PFF system, a nice pickup for the Minnesota Vikings.